The door of dawn and water for the flower of gratitude. The door of stillness. Before we begin, I invite you, together with me, to commit your complete attention to just one breath. Together, softly. Inhale very slowly. Exhale very gently. Can you sense the quiet tenderness spreading from that breath? Each morning that arrives, just like this breath, is a door, opening to a myriad of new possibilities. A blank page, yet unstained by ink. A silent invitation for us to start anew, completely. Perhaps you know this feeling well. The alarm has only just stirred you, and even before your eyes open, your mind is already spinning in a race. It chases after what was left undone yesterday, and fears what is waiting today. A tension, a sense of heaviness has already formed, stirring in your chest. We haven't fully awakened yet, but our anxiety has awakened for us. Yet, the Buddha discovered a profound truth. He realized that suffering begins in the mind, and therefore peace also originates from that very place. In the Buddhist tradition, dawn is not merely the start of a day. It is a sacred moment. In that instant, your mind is still soft, not yet hardened or calloused by the torrent of thoughts. Your heart is still open, not yet questioned by the world, not yet demanding anything. Please listen, not with the rush of the intellect, but with the quiet settling of the heart. In the moments that follow, we will contemplate 10 ancient Buddhist teachings together. These are not 10 rules you are compelled to follow. They are 10 gentle invitations. These small practices transformed monks and nuns centuries ago, and now they can transform how you greet each new day. You do not need to master all 10. Choose one thing that truly touches you, one thing that feels as if it is waiting for you. That alone is enough. Adjust your pillow. Pull the blanket closer. Allow your body to truly settle and take refuge. This time is solely for you. The door is open. Let's step through together, beginning where all awakening originates, the moment you open your eyes. Gratitude, the buried gift. Each day that opens before you is a hand, gently, over your chest. Feel what is happening beneath your palm. Your heart is beating. It has been doing this work all night, while you slept soundly. Without your attention, without effort from you, faithfully, persistently, keeping you alive, keeping you present. And then, one word is all. Just one word. Thank you. That is the practice. Not complicated at all. It requires no special training course. It requires no perfect state of mind. Just your hand, the beating of your heart, and that simple word to welcome the morning. In the Buddhist view, a grateful mind is a peaceful mind. The mind that constantly searches for what is missing, what is wrong, what should be different. That mind lives in perpetual suffering, not because the circumstances are terrible, but because it has trained itself to focus on the absence rather than the presence. The grateful mind performs a revolutionary act. It acknowledges what is here. I am not preaching, I am simply observing what happens inside a person. You must notice it for yourself. When you dedicate the first waking moments to listing problems, how does your body feel? Is there a sense of tightness? Isn't there? A heaviness? Now, imagine starting with gratitude, even if you don't feel it perfectly, even if it feels forced at first. Something shifts. Something is softer. Perhaps you have worries. Perhaps real difficulties are overshadowing your life right now. Financial stress, relational pain, health issues, loss. They are real, and I'm not asking you to pretend they do not exist, but even when dark clouds loom in the sky, even when your mind is weighed down by legitimate concerns, this morning practice of gratitude, still opens a chink of light. What can you be grateful for, even on a difficult day? The roof sheltering you from the weather while you sleep, the bed that held your body all night, the lungs that diligently breathe without conscious control from you. Your body, even if it feels imperfect, is still accompanying you on this journey. The fact that you woke up, a privilege not granted to everyone. These are not grand things. They are ordinary things, easily overlooked, but ordinary begin to perfume your entire day. This does not mean your circumstances will magically improve. The difficulties may still be there, but your relationship with them will shift. You face challenges from a different place within, more stable, more settled, less reactive. You begin to notice opportunities hidden within difficulties. You pay attention to the small beauties you previously rushed past. You respond to people with greater patience because you are not approaching the day from a state of internal lack. The gratitude you cultivate at dawn will quietly transform how you move through the hours that follow. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded his students of something we constantly forget. He said we already have enough conditions to be happy right now. Not someday when we achieve the right thing or fix the right problem. Think about the meaning of the word enough. We are conditioned to believe that enough is always just out of reach. A little more money, a better relationship, a different circumstance, then we will have enough. But this is a trap. The finish line keeps moving. You reach what you thought was enough, and suddenly it's not enough anymore. The practice of gratitude breaks this cycle. It doesn't make you complacent or prevent you from striving toward good things, but it shifts the foundation from "I don't have enough" to "I can work with what is." That shift, my friend, changes everything. The return. So, what does this look like in your real life, in your real morning? Tomorrow morning, when consciousness returns and you find yourself in the space between sleep and the new day. Before you reach for your phone, before you let the spiral of thought begin, remember, a hand placed on the chest, feel that faithful heart. One word: thank you. You do not need to perform this for anyone. No one needs to know you are doing this. This is not content for social media or a way to prove you are spiritual. This is an intimate conversation between you and life itself, private, sacred in its simplicity. Perhaps you will feel a genuine, warm wave of gratitude wash over you. Perhaps will forget. You will skip days. You will wake up anxious and fall into the fear spiral before you remember you intended to do something different. That is not failure. That is being a human being. The practice lies in the return. Every time you remember and come back to gratitude, you are reinforcing something within yourself. You are training your mind the way you train any skill, with repetition, patience, and self-compassion when you stumble. Think of it this way. Your mind has grooves etched deeply over years by certain habits. Waking up anxious is a groove. Waking up complaining is a groove. Waking up immediately planning and stressing is a groove. These grooves are so deep that your thoughts naturally flow down them without any effort. The practice of gratitude begins to etch a new groove. At first, it is shallow, easily missed. Your thoughts still fall into the old patterns because those grooves are deeper, more familiar. But every morning you practice gratitude, even imperfectly. You are deepening this new groove. Over weeks and months, this new path becomes more firm. Eventually, gratitude becomes more natural, less forced. It becomes the default setting of your mind, rather than something you must intentionally construct.
but this takes time. Western culture often promises instant transformation. Do this one thing, and your life will change tomorrow. Buddhism is more honest. It says, do this consistently, with patience and without harsh self-judgment, and over time, you will notice you have become a different person. Not because you forced the change, but because you watered what you wished to grow. Morning is the perfect time for this practice because of your mental and emotional state upon waking. Your mind has not fully constructed its daily narrative. The ego is not fully online. There is a softness, an openness that exists in those first moments. Gratitude sown into the fertile ground of the morning takes root differently than gratitude forced in the middle of a stressful afternoon. Both are valuable, but morning gratitude sets the foundation for your day. The accumulation of starting this way is also worth noting. One grateful morning might make a small difference. 7 consecutive mornings begin to build momentum, flowed for thousands of years. And your small morning gesture adds to that river, keeping it flowing forward. This is not about becoming a Buddhist or adopting a religious creed. You do not need to believe anything specific. You are simply working with the raw material of your consciousness, learning to shape it in ways that create less suffering and more peace. And as you settle into this gratitude, still lying in bed, body warm, heart beating steadily beneath your palm, you may notice something else that has been there all along: your breath. It gently moves in and out naturally, sustaining you effortlessly. And that, my friend, becomes the bridge to the next practice, the next door opening. The breath, the bridge that leads home, the unwavering companion. You are still lying there, or perhaps you have already sat up. Your body is warm. Your heart is still beating rhythmically, faithfully, beneath your palm. And in the stillness of that moment, I invite you to notice something else that has been there all along: your breath. It has gently moved in and out, patiently doing its work. While you placed your hand on your chest, while you whispered words of gratitude, while you listened to these words, the breath continued its tireless work. Up and down, in and out. Sustaining your life without permission, without your attention. This breath has been with you since the first moment you left your mother's womb. The first inhale, the first exhale, and it has never stopped. Through sleep and waking, through joy and sorrow, through every experience you've ever had, the breath remains the constant companion. Usually it is invisible to us, a background sound, a background movement that we rarely notice. But right now, in this moment, your awareness is directed toward it, and that awareness itself is the practice. In the Buddhist tradition, contemplation of the breath is called anapanasati, or mindfulness of breathing. This practice has been taught from teacher to student for over 2,500 years, not because it is complex or mystical, but because it is profound in its very simplicity. The boundary of the present. The breath acts as follow along. The first breath. Inhale very slowly through the nose. Feel the air as it enters. Cool at the nostrils, moving down the throat, filling the lungs. Notice your chest expanding, your abdomen gently rising. Exhale, releasing softly through the nose or mouth, whichever feels natural. As you exhale, imagine you are letting go of everything accumulated during the night. Any remaining tension held in the body, any residue of dreams still clinging to consciousness, any worry about the day ahead. Just release it all with this outgoing breath. That is one. The second breath. Even slower this time. Inhale gently and notice something you may never have noticed before. There is a subtle pause at the peak of the inhale. The moment your lungs are full and you haven't yet begun to exhale, rest in that pause for just a second. Then exhale very slowly and completely, and notice there is another pause at the bottom. When your lungs are empty and you haven't yet started the next inhale, reside there too. In those pauses, something opens up, a space in the continuous movement, a small window of stillness between the movements of the breath. You don't need to do anything with this observation, just notice it. That is 2. The third breath. This time, don't try to control the breath at all. Don't try to make it deep, slow, or any other way. Simply allow your body to breathe the way it wants to. You are simply the observer. Observe this breath as it occurs naturally. Feel it arrive without your effort. Feel it leave without your command. This is how your breath has operated all your life, automatically, wisely, without management. That is 3. Now, rest for a moment with whatever you are experiencing. Maybe your body feels more awake. Maybe your mind feels a bit clearer. Maybe nothing is different. That is all fine. The body's wiring system. You have probably noticed how your breath changes throughout the day depending on your emotional state. When you are anxious, the breath becomes shallow and fast, caught high in the chest. When you are relaxed, it naturally deepens, settling into the abdomen. When you are angry, it becomes sharp and quick. When you are peaceful, it flows smooth.
The Buddha taught something essential about the breath. He said the breath is the only refuge you never leave behind when you leave home. You might forget your keys, your phone, your wallet, but you never forget your breath because it is always there. When you are lost in thought, spinning in worry or planning, the breath brings you back. When you are overwhelmed by emotion, the breath stabilizes you. When you are scattered and fragmented, the breath gathers you back. It's like having a wise teacher who never speaks, but who is incredibly patient, always waiting for your attention. The breath demands nothing from you. It doesn't judge you for forgetting it for hours or days. The moment you remember and bring consciousness to it, it is right there, ready to guide you home to the present moment. Anchoring the long day. This is why the breath is central to Buddhist meditation practice, not because it holds some magic, but because it is reliable, ever available, and directly accessible to your awareness. Think about your day ahead. Maybe you have a stressful meeting. Traffic will test your patience. A difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Deadlines weighing heavily. Whatever challenges await, you will have the breath with you. Even if the rest of the day becomes chaotic, you have started with this anchor. You have established this conscious connection to the breath before everything else began to demand your attention, and you can return to it at any time. Sitting in that meeting, feeling tension rise, 3 breaths. Stuck in traffic, frustration building, 3 breaths. Before that difficult conversation, 3 breaths. You are back, centered once again. Thich Nhat Hanh gave a beautiful teaching on conscious breathing. He often said, "Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile." These words are so simple, yet they contain a complete practice. Notice he doesn't say, "I try to calm my body," or "I hope to smile." He speaks in the present tense with certainty. The in-breath calms, the out-breath allows a smile. You can use these words if they resonate with you, or you can simply remain with the breath in silence. The words are only a vehicle. To this automatic process, something awakens. Not in some mystical sense, but in a very practical one. You become aware that you are alive, that you are here, that this moment is happening. Most of us spend the majority of our time anywhere but here. We are rewinding yesterday, rehearsing tomorrow, lost in fantasy or fear, or planning. The present moment is missed entirely.
The breath is the door back, always available, always now. When you lie there this morning, having taken 3 conscious breaths, you may notice your body feels more present, more inhabited. You are not just a head full of thoughts anymore. You are a breathing being connected to the physical reality of existence. This embodiment is crucial. Much of our suffering occurs because we live entirely in our heads, cut off from the wisdom of the body. The body is always in the present moment. It doesn't worry about tomorrow or regret yesterday. It simply is, breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat. When you bring attention to the breath, you are essentially asking your mind to join your body in the here and now. You are reuniting parts of yourself that have spent too much time separated. And this reunion, this coming home to yourself through the breath, creates a foundation for everything else you will do today. You are not fragmented from the start. You are beginning with a sense of fundamental wholeness, a certain harmony. Throughout the day, you may notice moments where you naturally return to conscious breathing. Maybe you are waiting in line and suddenly you realize your breath. Maybe you are between tasks and there is a pause where you notice the breath. These are not random moments. This is your consciousness remembering what you practiced this morning. The morning practice sows a seed. Throughout the day, that seed sprouts into small moments of remembering, small returns to presence. You don't need to force these moments. They arise naturally because you have set the pattern right from dawn. This is how practice works in Buddhism. You are not trying to maintain perfect awareness every second. You are creating the conditions for awareness to arise more often, more easily. Like water finding channels that have been established, your attention learns to return to the breath more easily each time you practice. The brush of intent
Are the artist holding the brush. But here is what most of us do. We never consciously pick up the brush. We let the day paint us. We react to whatever shows up. We respond to whoever demands attention. We move through hours, shaped entirely by external forces. By evening, we look at the canvas and barely recognize what is there. We didn't choose these colors, this composition, this energy. It just happened to us. Buddhism offers a different approach. Before the day begins to paint you, you make one conscious mark on the canvas yourself. You set an intention. The difference between intention and goal. In the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path, this is called Samma Sankappa, right intention. This is not about setting goals in the way Western culture understands goals. You are not making a to-do list or determining success metrics. You are choosing a direction for your inner life, an orientation for your consciousness. The question is simple and profound. How do I want to move through this day? Sit with that question for a moment. Not what do I need to accomplish, but who do I want to be? Your intention can be incredibly simple. Perhaps today you want to pause for a beat before reacting to everything. That's all. A breath between stimulus and response. Or perhaps your intention is, today I will listen more than I speak. Or, today I will complete tasks without rushing. Or, today I will be kind to myself when I make a mistake. Notice, these are not grand spiritual declarations. They are authentic directions toward the qualities that matter to you. They are intimate, personal, honest. You know that feeling when the day spins out of control, when you are entirely reactive, bouncing from demand to demand like a pinball. When you arrive home exhausted in the evening, having spent the entire day responding instead of choosing. Your morning intention is the thread you can hold on to in those moments. It is the path home when you get lost in the chaos. The law of thoughts turning into action. The Buddha taught something essential about how change happens in a human being. He said, all things are preceded by the mind. They have mind as their master. They are created by the mind. Every influence how the day unfolds. Not as rigid control, but as gentle shaping. The flexibility of the bamboo. There is a Zen teaching about the bamboo tree that helps us understand the nature of intention. The bamboo has an incredibly strong root system, deep, interconnected, almost indestructible. But above ground, the bamboo is supremely flexible. In strong winds, it bends gracefully without breaking. Your intention is like the bamboo. It needs a strong root, a sincere commitment, an honest acknowledgement of what matters to you. But it does not need to be rigid in form. Life is going to bend you today. Surprises will happen. Plans will change. People will surprise you. If your intention is brittle and demanding, you will break under that pressure. But if your intention is of the nature of bamboo, rooted yet flexible, you can bend with the circumstances without losing yourself. You have direction without rigidity. The moment of return is everything. Let's be honest about how this actually works in real life. You set your intention this morning. Perhaps, today I want to respond with patience. Great. Then by 10:30 a.m., you are snapping at a colleague or feeling irritable in traffic. This is entirely normal. Expected. You have not failed. Perhaps around lunchtime you suddenly remember your intention. Oh, I intended to practice patience today. I lost it 3 times already. That moment of remembering, that is the practice. It is not about being in perfect alignment with your intention every second, but about noticing when you have drifted and returning. That return is everything. No judgment is needed. No harsh self-criticism. Simply, I drifted. I'll come back now. You will do this many times throughout the day, drifting and returning, forgetting and remembering, losing the thread and picking it up again. Every return strengthens something within you, training your consciousness to recognize when it deviates and to gently adjust. The choice of watering. From the path of the Dhamma, the Buddhist teachings state, we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. This can sound fatalistic, as if we are prisoners of our thoughts, but there is a deep freedom hidden to start the day on your own terms, instead of being hijacked by messages and notifications. Perhaps it is, I will actually take a lunch break instead of eating at my desk. That is you choosing to honor your body's need for rest, for nourishment, to be received consciously. Perhaps it is, today I will speak one truth instead of just going along. That is you choosing authenticity over complacency. Whatever your intention, the important thing is that it is truly yours, not borrowed from a book or copied from someone else's practice, not what you think you should intend, but what truly resonates with where you are right now in your life. Setting the intention does not take long. You are still in bed or just sat up, having practiced gratitude and conscious breathing. Perhaps just 30 seconds of quiet reflection, asking yourself sincerely, what quality do I want to bring into this day? Awakening the senses and fundamental self-compassion. The 4th door, presence through the senses. You have established your intention for the day. Perhaps it is patience. Perhaps it is authenticity. That intention, like a small light, now needs an environment to shine upon. That environment is none other than the physical reality surrounding you, filtered through the 5 senses. Normally, when we leave our beds, the mind has completely taken over the senses. We look, but do not truly see. We hear, but do not deeply listen. We touch, but do not truly feel. Everything is just data, a means for the mind to plan and analyze. Buddhism invites you to awaken the senses. Invite them to participate in the present moment. As you lower your feet to the floor, feel the coolness, the firmness of the surface beneath you. As you touch the blanket, notice its soft or rough texture. As you take the first sip of water, feel the coolness sliding down your throat, nourishing your body. This is pure mindfulness practice. It does not require you to do anything new, only to do everything you already do. with complete attention. Imagine you are standing up, moving toward the window. The light gently fills the room. Please do not see that light through the lens of, "Oh, it's sunny, I need to get to work." Instead, see the light as a quality. Moving slowly, consciously. You are grateful. You are breathing. You have an intention. And then, what often happens, even in these quiet moments, the self-judging mind arises. I didn't meditate long enough. My gratitude wasn't deep enough. Why do I still feel anxious? Buddhism calls this secondary suffering. The first suffering is the anxiety itself. The second suffering is judging yourself for having the anxiety. It carves the groove of habit deeper into your mind. This fifth practice is the deepest invitation to freedom, metta, loving kindness, for yourself. Before you step out into the world and try to be kind to others, offer this fundamental compassion to the person you are right now. Gently place your hand back on your chest, not to be grateful for the heartbeat, but to soothe yourself. Whisper to yourself, in the gentlest way possible, these words, or any that resonate with you. May I be peaceful. May I be safe and healthy. May I accept myself, even in these difficulties. This is not self-indulgence, nor is it weakness. This is an act of the utmost courage and strength, refusing to harm yourself. Self-compassion is the recognition that you, too, need care. Just as when you see a child crying, you don't scold them for crying, you hold them close. Hold the part of your mind that is stressed, the part of your body that is tired, with non-judgmental tenderness. If your intention today is patience, then this compassion is the fuel for that patience. You cannot be patient with the world if you are fighting yourself. The Buddha taught a crucial point about two. It is the wish for others not to suffer, and the first person who needs to receive that wish, fully and unconditionally, is you. When you leave this quiet morning space, carry that feeling of compassion with you. It is the soft armor that protects you from harsh self-judgment, and it is the unlimited energy for you to treat others kindly. Once again, let's take a deep breath. The breath connects this gratitude, presence, and compassion together. The power of speech and the ethics of energy. The sixth door, the ethics of speech. You are now dressed, perhaps founded on 4 principles, which you can contemplate as you prepare to speak your first words of the day. Truthfulness. Speak what is true. Kindness. Speak what is kind. Helpfulness. Speak what is useful and helpful, not just gossip or idle chatter. Harmonizing. Speak words that create harmony, not division or discord. The key here is the conscious filter. Before you let a word leave your mouth, pause and run it through these filters. If it fails one of the checks, for instance, if it is true but unkind, or if it is kind but useless, refrain. The morning practice of conscious breathing, Part 2, and intention setting, Part 3, gives you the space to apply this filter. When irritation flares and you want to snap or criticize, the breath creates a gap, a fraction of a second where you can choose. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often said, "When you say something, it is already too late. The intention has already formed." Your morning practice is about softening the ground of the intention, so that when the time comes to speak, kindness naturally flows out instead of reactivity. The practice of right speech is a commitment to do no harm with your words. A single harsh, thoughtless word can undo hours of your inner work and cause profound suffering in another person. Your words are energy. Choose to send peace, not disruption, into the network of your life. The seventh door, the energy of effort. Now that you are ready to engage with the world, physically moving, commuting, or starting work, we encounter the seventh practice, samavayama, right effort. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts. In the West, effort usually means straining, forcing, pushing, burning yourself out to achieve a goal. In Buddhism, right effort is about balance. It is about understanding the ecology of your inner energy. It is the art of cultivating wholesome states and abandoning unwholesome states without strain. The practice of right effort is defined by a fourfold aspiration: to prevent unwholesome states like worry, anger, jealousy that have not yet arisen. To abandon unwholesome states that have mourning means applying just the right amount of effort to your practice. Too little effort. You stay in bed, succumb to the urge to scroll through your phone, and lose your conscious intention. Too much effort. You try to force a perfect meditation, criticize your distracted mind, and end up more stressed than when you started. Right effort is the sweet spot in the middle. It is the gentle persistence needed to get out of bed, sit down, and commit to your intention, but then allowing the process to unfold effortlessly and non-judgmentally. Right effort is realizing that the energy you expend on worry or self-criticism is energy wasted. It is a drain on your system. By contrast, the energy you use to breathe consciously or to offer a kind word is energy renewed. These actions create peace, which feeds back into your sense of inner strength. The commitment you made this morning to move through the day with your chosen intention is the foundation of your right effort. You are choosing to direct your energy toward what is life-affirming and peaceful, not toward the chaotic demands of habit. Sustaining integrity and the livelihood of the soul. The eighth door, right livelihood. You have purified your inner energy with right effort, samavayama, and refined your external expression with right speech, samavaka. Now we must examine the very foundation of your interaction with the material world, sama-ajiva, right livelihood. This practice challenges one of the most ingrained modern assumptions, that your work is merely a means to an end, a necessity to earn money regardless of its nature. Buddhism invites a deeper contemplation. Does the way you earn your living diminish or enhance the dignity of life? Right livelihood is the commitment to ensure that your means of sustenance, your profession, your business, your daily work causes no harm to yourself, to others, or to the living world. Historically, this meant avoiding trades that involve weapons, poisons, slavery, or intoxicants. In the modern context, the principles broaden. Integrity. Refusing to participate in office gossip or dishonesty. Reinforcing right speech. Applying presence. Bringing your right effort and mindfulness to every task. Treating your work not as a burden, but as a field for practice. Respecting time. Being honest and respectful of your own time and the time of your colleagues. When you earn your living with integrity, you gain something money cannot buy: deep inner peace. You can rest in the evening knowing that your hands and your words have not created unnecessary suffering. This knowledge is a profound source of unshakable stability, which fortifies your entire inner life. Your morning practices, gratitude, intention, compassion, are the inner fuel that makes right livelihood possible. You act with integrity not out of obligation, but because you are starting from a place of enoughness and kindness, not lack or fear. The ninth door, the breath of giving. As you move through your day, ready to interact with the world with integrity and measured effort, we encounter the ninth foundational practice, dana, or generosity. Generosity is often misunderstood as solely a grand financial transaction. However, in Buddhism, dana is considered the first step on the path to awakening because it gently breaks down the fundamental human tendency toward grasping and self-clinging. Dana is not about what you give, but the spirit in which you give. It is about transforming giving into a conscious act, like a breath, taking in to sustain, giving out to share. Your morning practice of dana is about intentionally looking for opportunities to give what is most precious and always available. The gift of attention. This is perhaps the rarest commodity today. When someone speaks to you, a family member, a service worker, a colleague, give them your full, undivided presence. Put down the phone, look into their eyes, listen with a quiet mind. This is an act of profound validation and generosity. The gift of the smile. A genuine smile is an effortless expression of metta, loving kindness. It is a silent affirmation that says, "I see you, and I wish you well." It costs you nothing but enough warmth, enough life. The need to desperately hold on to everything diminishes. You give, not from a place of surplus, but from a place of deep realization that generosity enriches the giver more than the receiver. Each act of giving reinforces the new groove in your mind. I am safe, and I have enough to share. By intentionally looking for small moments of generosity throughout your day, you transform mundane interactions into moments of conscious practice. You are actively weaving a network of kindness and connection into your life, which will always return to nurture your own inner peace. The unification of practice. The power of the small. The 10th door, right mindfulness. We have journeyed through 9 conscious practices, moving from the moment of awakening to the moment of engaging with the world through livelihood and generosity. Now we arrive at the 10th and most crucial component that binds all these threads together, samasati, right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is not a separate action. It is the quality of awareness that permeates every single action you take. It is the ability to be fully present with what is happening without judgment, right here, right now. Gratitude is mindfulness applied to your circumstances. Breathing is mindfulness applied to your body's rhythm. Right speech is mindfulness applied to your words. Right livelihood is mindfulness applied to your professional conduct. Mindfulness is the light that illuminates all the other paths. Without it, gratitude becomes an empty recital, and right intention becomes a forgotten wish. How do you apply this? By making a conscious decision many times throughout the day to step out of your head and into the moment. If you are drinking coffee, just drink the coffee. Taste the bitterness. Feel the warmth. Hear the gentle sound of the cup touching the table. If you are walking, just walk. Feel the weight shift from one foot to the other. Be aware of the ground beneath your soles. This seemingly simple act of being present is the most powerful tool you possess. It is the only thing that breaks the cycle of mental preoccupation, worry, planning, regretting, that keeps you from experiencing life as it is. Argument, and the ship drifts far off course. The moment you realize you are drifting, that is the most important moment of your entire day. The response to this realization should be, stop. Cease the unwholesome action. Stop arguing. Stop rushing. Stop self-criticizing. Soften. Immediately apply self-compassion, metta, to yourself. Say, I lost it. That is okay. I am human. Do not judge the lapse. That is only adding secondary suffering. Return. Gently, firmly return to the breath. Take one deep, conscious inhale and exhale. This cycle of forgetting, noticing, softening, and returning is the true engine of spiritual growth. Every time you consciously return, you are deepening the new groove of awareness in your mind and weakening the old groove of reaction. The Buddha's teaching on practice is always gentle and realistic. It is not about reaching the summit in one leap, but about taking one conscious step after the next, and always being willing to begin again in the very next moment. The accumulation of small acts. We now see that these 10 invitations are not distinct, isolated rules. They form a unified ecology of consciousness. Your day is not transformed by one grand, difficult action, but by the accumulation of small, conscious acts you commit to at dawn. Starting with gratitude, the seed, makes it easier to maintain right effort throughout the day. Focusing on the breath, the anchor, gives you the space needed to apply the filter of right speech. Offering self-compassion, the fuel, gives you the generosity to forgive others and maintain right livelihood. This unified system creates a powerful, positive feedback loop. Each conscious action reinforces the next. Over time, not instantly, but patiently, these small, consistent efforts become the default orientation of your mind. You stop trying to be patient. You simply are patient because the underlying conditions, calm breath, established intention, self-kindness, are already present. This is the promise of the path, to transform the ordinary into the sacred simply by bringing the full light of your awareness to it.
Right speech, etc. Each time you execute one of these consciously, you are using a small shovel, patiently etching a new groove onto that hillside. Initially, this gratitude groove is shallow. The torrent of your thoughts will still rush toward the old, deep groove of worry. You will forget. You will feel discouraged. But this is where right effort shows its strength. Your patient repetition each morning, even if it's just the 3 breaths, is steadily deepening the new groove. Over weeks and months, the groove of gratitude and stillness becomes clearer, deeper, and more familiar. Gradually, organically, the current of your energy and consciousness begins to divert onto this new path. It no longer has to fight the old habit. It simply finds a path of less resistance. This is the profound transformation that Buddhism promises. It is not about attaining a mystical state, but about changing the neural architecture of your mind through conscious, compassionate repetition. This change does not arrive instantly. It comes silently, like a stone being worn away by the current. One day you wake up and realize, oh, my first thought wasn't worry anymore. It was a thank you. That moment is the blossoming of the flower of gratitude you have watered. The quality of bamboo, stability in flexibility. If the groove represents the architecture of the mind, the image of the bamboo tree symbolizes how we move through the world with this restructured mind. We learn that intention must be deeply rooted, but the trunk must be flexible. Modern life is a storm. The winds of criticism, the rains of demands, the gales of change. If you cling to a rigid intention, I must be patient at all times, in all places, you will break when the storm hits, leading to frustration and self-judgment. But the bamboo does not do this. It has the roots of right livelihood and right effort, integrity and balanced energy. And because of this foundation, the bamboo can bend so gracefully that it appears to touch the ground. core message of this entire work is about the cumulative effect. We often think, I must meditate for an hour for it to have an effect. Buddhism says, 1 second of mindfulness is worth more than 1,000 hours of unawareness. Your 10 morning practices are 10 small actions lasting only a few minutes, but they are the first bricks of a magnificent structure. 1 grateful morning may make a small difference. 7 consecutive mornings begin to deepen the new grooves. 365 mornings will transform you into a person for whom gratitude, presence, and compassion are the default state. You do not need to do anything grand. You only need to do this small thing with consistency, with tenderness, and with integrity. In the days to come, as you walk your path, carry this reminder. You are equipped. You have the map, you have the light, and most importantly, you have the choice to begin again in the very next breath. Continue your journey with gentleness and joy, the healing pause, and the restoration of time, the antidote to haste. The modern world we inhabit is one obsessed with speed. We race against time, against notifications, against expectations. Haste has become the default state, a kind of baseline stress, always simmering beneath our every action. This haste not only diminishes efficiency, but it is also a spiritual thief. It steals the ability to feel simple joy. It steals patience with loved ones, and it steals the capacity to see the beauty of the present moment. The morning practices you are undertaking, such as the 3 conscious breaths, or the act of noticing the warmth of a coffee cup through the senses, are the most powerful antidote. They are acts of deliberate slowness. This slowness is not laziness. It is an act of strength. Recall the teaching on how your nervous system operates. When you rush, your breath is quick and shallow. This signals the amygdala in your brain that there is danger, activating the fight or flight response. Your body becomes rigid, ready to react. Conversely, when you intentionally take a deep breath, when you lengthen the moment of stillness, becomes a rich space of experience. You are not just washing dishes. You are taking refuge in 10 minutes of your life. Your morning moments of stillness and slowness create this ripple effect. They help you increase the density of experience. An hour of work done with mindfulness will feel more complete and satisfying than 2 hours of work done in distraction. Restore patience. When you feel you have enough time in the present, you can afford to give away your patience to others, as learned in the practice of generosity. You no longer see every delay as a personal affront to your schedule. This slowness is an investment in the quality of your life. It allows you to live deeply, rather than merely living widely on the surface. The interplay of compassion and slowness. Self-compassion is intimately linked to slowness. Haste is often the result of a harsh internal voice, urging you to do more, to be worthy more. It stems from the fear that you are not good enough unless you are busy. When you pause, you are saying to that part of yourself, I am enough now. I deserve this rest, this moment of stillness. Slowness is an act of acceptance. Acceptance that you cannot control everything. You cannot complete everything in one day. Your value does not lie in your productivity. The act of consciously slowing down during the day, a deep breath before answering an email, a minute looking out the window, a deliberate, slow gesture while eating, is a continuous affirmation of this compassion. These actions strengthen the self-acceptance groove in your mind, helping you exit the groove of always needing to prove oneself. The gift of letting go. Ultimately,
Morning slowness is a preparation for letting go throughout the day. Most of our tension comes from clinging to our opinions, clinging to control over outcomes, clinging to the pain of yesterday. When you start the day by slowly inhaling and exhaling, you are practicing the most basic mechanism of letting go, essential to life. The out-breath is the letting go of carbon dioxide. Slowness is the letting go of the need to control the pace of the world. Gratitude is the letting
Outside world. This very belief is the cause of all anxiety, fear, and judgment. When you feel separated, you worry about competing to have enough. You fear rejection, and you judge others to elevate your own standing. Your morning practice is a gentle break in this illusion. Gratitude, the first practice, breaks separation by forcing you to notice your dependence. You are grateful for the warm blanket, the food, the person who made the bed, all coming from outside your isolated self. The breath, the second practice, breaks separation by showing you are constantly exchanging with the environment. You breathe in air from the trees and breathe out for them. You cannot exist alone. This realization of interbeing, that you are elements that are not you, the trees, the earth, the farmer, your parents, is a fundamental transformation. When you look at the world through the lens of connection, every action you take changes. Expanding, loving kindness, self-compassion. The fourth practice is the first step. It is like filling your own cup with water. But metta, loving kindness, never stops there. It is a stream that must flow outward. In meditation, we practice extending loving kindness in a circle, moving from easy to difficult. Yourself, may I be peaceful and safe. Loved ones, may those I love be peaceful and safe. Neutral people, may the delivery person, the cashier, the neighbor I don't know, be peaceful and safe. Difficult people, may the person who hurt me, the one I find hard to accept, be peaceful and safe. All beings, may all beings be peaceful and safe. Every morning, after you have soothed the stressed part of your mind, you can take a few seconds to expand this circle. Listen to the resistance. When you extend loving kindness to the difficult person, your mind will scream, "No, they don't deserve it." This resistance is precisely where the magic happens. You are not wishing for them to escape the consequences of their actions. You are only wishing for them to be free from the cause of those actions, which is their own suffering. Because harmful actions always arise from a place of internal pain. This act of giving kindness, even just in thought speaking, ask yourself, what will this word create in the network? Will it build a bridge or a wall? Your gift of generosity, the sixth practice, giving attention, giving a smile, becomes a physical manifestation of this realization. You give not because you have to, but because you realize that the other person's happiness is inseparable from your own. The peace you cultivate each morning is the common property of the network. Your stillness helps soothe the anxiety of those around you. It is a subtle and priceless gift of giving. You are no longer an isolated individual seeking peace for yourself, but a conscious thread making the entire tapestry stronger. This fundamentally changes the meaning of waking up consciously. It is not just about you feeling better. It is about how you recreate the world in the most gentle way possible, by living fully and connected. The courage of awareness and the lamp of self-reliance. The price of awareness, courage and sincerity. We have explored that these morning practices are not grand spiritual rites, but rather acts of the utmost courage and sincerity. What is courage? Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to keep walking, to keep breathing, to keep loving, even in the presence of fear. When you practice right mindfulness, you are facing the truth without avoidance. You face pain. Instead of running from discomfort or tension, you take refuge with it. You take a breath and you say to the pain, "I see you. I am willing to stay here with you for a moment." This is pure courage. You face yourself. You acknowledge your mistakes, your moments of impatience, your hasty words, not to wallow in self-pity, but to learn and to return. This is deep sincerity. In a world that encourages concealment and outward perfection, the act of living truthfully with what is happening inside, with anger, regret, exhaustion, is a revolutionary act. This sincerity is what allows self-compassion to take root. You cannot love an imagined version of yourself. You can only offer kindness to the real person you are, with all the mess and the beauty, ensuring the flow of energy. The last bead, right mindfulness. It is the attention that keeps every bead vibrant and present. When you hold this string of beads in your hand, even just in your mind, you are not just practicing one thing. Everything nourishes everything else. Your gratitude makes mindfulness easier. Your mindfulness deepens your compassion. The circle continues. The light of your own self-reliance. We conclude with the powerful teaching of Attadipa, self-reliance, be a lamp unto yourselves. In a world full of advice, gurus, and belief systems, the Buddha invites you to trust the innate wisdom within yourself. This is the key takeaway. You do not practice to be approved by the Buddha. You do not practice to be praised by the community. You practice because you deserve to live a life with less suffering and more peace. Every answer you seek for your life, how to overcome fear, how to find love, how to live with purpose, is already within you. But you need mindfulness to hear that voice. You need slowness to create the space for it to speak. Your lamp is not a flickering light, easily extinguished by the wind. It is the lamp of awareness, indestructible. It has been there, even in your darkest days. These practices are merely cleaning the glass casing so the light can shine forth naturally. The ultimate invitation. Ta-ta-ta, suchness. Once you have committed to these practices, it is time to release all concepts of success or failure in meditation. Buddhism calls the state of living in absolute sincerity, without decoration, without addition. Ta-ta-ta, suchness. This morning it is raining. It is such. You feel a wave of sadness. It is such. You made a mistake. It is such. This gentle acceptance of reality, of yourself, is absolute freedom. You do not need to fix yesterday. You do not need to worry about tomorrow. You only need to be the real person you are, living fully in the present moment, without addition, without denial. And that is the final message of this entire essay. Each morning is an opening door. You have learned how to walk through that door, not in a rush, but with lightness and awareness.